Hey everybody, I hope you guys are all doing okay. Welcome back to the Ali Solves Road to 1000 special. And we are now into the final stretch, only 3 puzzles left ahead of us. Although these 3 are all going to be potentially quite tough. We're going to be starting off with the Thursday. And I mentioned this before, but the reason Thursday puzzles are tough is because they usually depart from what you expect out of typical crosswords. At least the way the New York Times does it is on Thursdays they have puzzles with extra tricks to them. A few of my friends who've tried solving New York Times crosswords have actually gotten frustrated when they get to the Thursday because they feel like they get kind of good at solving regular crosswords, and then Thursdays come up with all kinds of random stuff out of the blue, and it can be very disorienting for anybody who's getting into solving New York Times crosswords uh, if you haven't had experience with them before. And it was the case with me as well. Like early on, like before I had this long streak, when I was new to the New York Times crossword, often I would be losing my streak not on Fridays or Saturdays or Sundays, the big, scary, difficult clue kind of puzzles, but I'd be losing my streak on the Thursday just because I wouldn't be able to figure out what the trick was for the puzzle. But over time, you see lots of them, and you start to build up a bit of repertoire. Not necessarily like memorizing every single possible kind of trick that they could pull. I don't think that's possible. I think it's probably an infinite, like mathematically infinite varieties that they could have. But you get a sense of the kind of ways that you need to think to solve these puzzles. And so, assuming we get to the streak of 1,000. I'm not taking anything for granted yet, but assuming we get there, I'd say the one biggest component, the one biggest thing that helped me get there was being able to solve Thursday puzzles confidently and regularly. And with that, uh, with that opening narration out of the way, I think it's time to jump into this puzzle by Grant Burrows. All right, let's jump in. Again, apologies if I end up coughing during this solve. Shouldn't be that bad. I feel like I've gotten a lot better overnight. So, all right, let's see what's going on. Immediately, we see circled letters, so clearly something's up. Sight for a light bite. A deli, possibly? Oh no, actually, this is going to be Ada Lovelace. Like many Keats works. So Keats wrote odes. So I think the clue is going to be odic. I think because I don't think the answer would be odes, because like means it's an adjective. Right, so let's take a look at this. Major food source animal could be a cow. But I'm not sure. Instrument panels. Not sure. Swerve wildly from side to side. Well, you know what? Let's move on for now. Cy Young winners. I'm not sure what that is. Confidently struts could be swaggers or sachets. Swahili honorific. I might know this if I get some crossings, but if this is a plural, if it has an end, if it has an S at the end, then sachets does seem like it could be good. Gesture of reassurance. Syllables of laughter. Okay, starting with an H seems good for that. Uh-huh. Let me just check a few things, alright? I think we're fine. Alright, let's see. Legislative collectives. Ooh, I mean, like, these clues are already kind of tough. Educated insolence per Aristotle. And actually, is it art? Is Aristotle one of those guys that hated art? Possibly. Part of a pipe. Maybe. Actually, this could be a weight. Does this make sense for a Swahili honorific? Let's wait on that. Cy Young winners. I don't know what that is. Mind. Don't know. Burnt bit of brisket. Ah, man. Oh, geez. These clues are kind of tough. Gee, okay, I'm a little bit nervous right now. Right hand, I think, could be an aid. Lou Grant's. Man, what is up with these clues? This is very difficult. Raced as away from danger. Let's take a look at this. Areas that are lower than their surrounding. Well, this is likely to be an S. Indian honorific. This one I should know. Actually, let's take a look. If it's a woman's name, and if the second letter is a D, it could be Edna. Let's take a look at this. Word on a nutrition label that's very vague. Very vague. Raced as away from danger. Areas that are lower than their surrounding terrain. Okay, so we got some circles. Not sure what the circles even mean. There's a lot of names in this puzzle, which are always hard. Part of a pipe. Legislative collectives. Let's see. Bugs, perhaps. Let's hold off on that. Trademark of deadpan stand-ups. It could be dry humor. Let's take a look at this. Scooby-Doo to Scrappy-Doo is an uncle. Finally, I get something. Bugs could be spies on. Melancholy musketeer. Well, I know it's got to be Athos, right? Athos. Toss out. Could be scrap. Let's take a look at this. Trademark. So it is humor. Is it wry humor or dry humor? Lavishly regaled. It could be wined or dined. Is that gonna be the trick, that it's something that works with multiple letters? Well, let's leave the letter blank for now. You see what I mean, though, right? It could be wry humor, like WRY. It could be dry humor, DRY. Lavishly regaled, like you wine and dine someone. You'd rarely see it split up in that way, like just wined separately or dined separately. Hmm. Feeds on could be praise on, but praise properly. A gesture of reassurance, a pat. That makes sense. So let's take a look at this. Major food source animal could be cod or cow. Okay. Excuse me. Instrument panels, and it's something that could be a D or a W. Well, hang on. First, let's take a look at this. Site for a light bat could be a cafe. Maybe, I don't know. What else could it be though? Instrument. Something boards? Or D. I don't know anything about brisket. Sweat shirt style. Not. You know what? Let's take a look at this. Fail to act decisively in the face of a challenge. And let's stay with our hypothesis that it could start with a D or a W. Actually, let's take a look at this short clue first. Dogleg terminus. Actually, no. Italian cheese. I think this is correct, right? Long time span could be age. Could be dither or this could be Lucy and oh god, come on. And Desi. Oh, wither, like you like wither up and die kind of thing. But let's, like I said, let's keep that blank. Dog leg terminus. Landed is going to be a lit. I see that there's lots of these clues that are just like names of people. One of three in an SOS language. I think Da makes sense. But let's actually take a look at this. If it could be dog leg. Oh, a dog's leg could be could end in a paw, but could it also be a pad? And is Pelham the thing? I'm not confident at all. Okay. But I am. The only thing I'm confident is that I think the DW situation is something that I'm pretty sure about. I'm flexible. Could be any. I think Druid could be probably is a pagan. I like the femur out of all the bones. Probably the largest. Twilight. Oh, actually, it's probably not Edna. It's probably Edie because I think this is Bella, right? Yeah. Oh, it could be Dells or Wells. Probably. Okay, so let's think about this. Swerve wildly from side to side as a car. Not sure. Hang on. Liable for damages. Yep. Word on a nutrition label. See, now I'm a bit worried because this part of the puzzle is like sealed off from the rest of the puzzle, and doing the rest of the puzzle is not gonna help us. Well, we could get to the revealer and maybe that'll help us, but I feel like we already kind of know what the clue probably is. So let's think about this. Instrument pedals and the word, it could be something that works with a D. Well, let's try with the D. Instrument panels. Dash. Oh, it could be dashboards or washboards. Oh, this is gonna be fishtail. Okay. I'm feeling a little bit more confident. Oh, this is gonna be fat. Flew or fled. Makes sense. Sweatshirt style. Um, Maybe this is not correct. Because I feel like it's got to be Echo Park, right? It's got to be Echo Park. Part of a pipe. Nah. Legislative collectives. Burnt bit of a brisket. Is it like the end? Is that a thing? No, that doesn't. What would Cy Young winners be? Let me take a look at this sweatshirt style. Hoodie? Is that like a sweatshirt? I think this is gonna be wit. Is it gonna be bodies? Let's take a look at this. Mind could be care. It's gonna be aces? What else could it be? Let's leave that for now. Fountain of Youth's Promise. Rebirth or something like that. Indian honorific. I should know this, but maybe one more crossing will help. Strike 3, you're out. I'm sure that's got to be it. Collector's Goal has got to be a set. Let's take a look at this. What lies before you with the... It could be day ahead or it could be way ahead. Oh, this is probably Sahib. Stopover is probably in. Oh, this is probably renewal from the Fountain of Youth. Author is concerned that when parsed as 4 parts, provides a hint to this puzzle's theme. Well, let me think about that. So dance floor lighting is probably a strobe. Not quite right. It's going to be off. Sufficient. Informally, probably enough. Play opener is going to be Act 1. Ungulate feature is going to be a hoof, whatever. Things listed on the wedding registry could be dishes or wishes, I guess. Well, like I said, let's leave those blank for now. Old-timey medicines, not sure, not ruling out. Well, let's take a look at this. Move forward resolutely could be plod or plow. Plow ahead, plod ahead. Quiet period is probably a lull. Prefix with cumulus. Is that a cloud kind of thing? Because, hang on. Toss out is probably scrap. Oh, not scrap. Goes hog wild is probably going to be runs amok. Some garden work could be sod or sow. Let's just leave that blank for now. Not ruling out is probably going to be open to old-timey medicines, probably tonics. What makes a sticker stick here? A classic dad joke. That's going to be an I. Essence. Not sure. Put 2 and 2 together. Not sure. Give but expect back. Probably alone. Rich. What? No, I have no idea. Bold. Oh, it's probably one of those horoscope things. What is this? Rich rock. What does that mean? I don't know. Hang on. I think I've gotten this wrong. I think this is gonna be land, and then rich rock is gonna be loan. This is gonna be Aaron Brockovich. Is it? Hang on. Word. W or D. Text massager is going to be an editor. Word choice. Sludge is going to be ooze. Speed is probably going to be zoom. Big bird is going to be emu. Words to betray is going to be et. Ooh. 2 runs a riot and a cot. Now let's see, does this work? Do we have to pick one or the other, or can we put WD? Let's try this. It might force us to pick one or the other, but let's put it just like this, and let's see if that gives us the win. Or I maybe you have to type WORD. I don't think that would look kind of awkward, but I do think there's a good chance that they'll not accept the double answer and they'll force you to pick one or the other. But let's see. Let me put do this. Oh, well, hey, they do accept it. And as an even more of a surprise, we solved the puzzle. I'll be honest, I wasn't totally confident. I wasn't sure about this, especially because I wasn't sure about this. I was like, if the answer is bodies, surely they'll have a less obscure clue than legislative collectives. But I guess they're just trying to be really, really obscure. And yeah, we figured it out early on that the trick to this puzzle was that for the circled letters, it could be a W or a D. And where did I think I figured it out with this one, with dry or wry humor, and wined or dined. And then I started applying it to the others. But yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Especially happy, of course, that we solved this. I feel like only 20 minutes kind of undersells how tricky this was. I feel like it could have given me a lot more trouble, and I kind of got a little bit lucky. But you know what? I should also give myself credit. I figured out what was going on pretty early on, and then we got to the revealer, and it pulled it all together. Word choice, or if you parse it as W or D choice. All right. Anything else in here that? Well, there were lots of names, but like this again. Like if you don't know American locations, you just wouldn't know this. And with a name like Echo, or with an answer like Echo, they could have clued it in easier ways, right? There were a few names in this. Edie, I guess, as I mean, I don't know any people, like even any famous people named Edie. I just know that this is a name, so I don't know if there's any clue that would have been able to help me get this. Other than maybe one of those clues that's like, ooh, the name sounds like two letters of the English alphabet. That would have probably made it a little bit too easy. All right, well, that's a good one. So what we'll do is we will, excuse me, what we'll do is we'll, I think we'll solve the mini first before we read the wordplay blog. Nature's band-aids, you might say scabs, probably. Sanctify is going to be bless. In need of tidying up is probably messy. Muscle spasm. Probably Swiss cheese. Oh, God. What? God, come on. Oh, it's going to be can we. Mountains approve is going to be Andes. Sassy. Apollo. There we go. I started out really quick on that, but then kind of hit a bit of a wall. But 32 seconds is fine. It's fine. It's fine. All right, so the last thing left to do is just to read about the puzzle. What makes a sticker stickier? Deb Amlin is back doing the Thursday and talking about this puzzle from Grant Burrows, who has had 2 entertaining crosswords published in the New York Times, but this might just put him on the map of constructors to keep an eye on. Yeah, it was a really fun puzzle. Not many constructors attempt this type of puzzle, which is sad. I mean, it's also not surprising because I imagine it's not easy to have like 2 entirely alternate sets of answers that both work and that are also satisfying and don't seem weirdly contrived. And also to have a revealer that makes sense, because you could imagine puzzles where it's like, I don't know, like a if you swap the B and a G, or like if like a B and a G are interchangeable and spells out 2 different words, but then you wouldn't necessarily have an easy time coming up with a clever pun in the revealer, or maybe you could, but what I'm saying about this puzzle is it wasn't just that it had an alternate set of answers, but also that the revealer, the clue that was, sorry, the answer that was word choice, and which also breaks up into W or a D choice. That was an extra layer, and if you're making a puzzle like this and you want to have that extra layer as well, that it's got to be satisfying and it's got to make sense. I can totally see why like it would be very difficult to construct something like this. But I mean, I do agree with Deb that it's fun solving puzzles like this, and I would like to see more of them as well. But I just understand why it isn't, and it probably isn't the easiest thing to do. Ah, yeah, Schrodinger. Wait, is it Schrodinger or Schrodinger? Or whatever. Like, you know, the thing about the cat in the box. Yeah, the thought experiment. Yep. Is where certain squares accept more than one letter, and using either letter is considered correct. How is that possible? What does the revealer word choice tell us about the theme? Well, we figured out all of this, but Deb is just about to go through it. Wry humor, wind. She finished the puzzle. Couldn't make sense of the revealer. See, now I feel clever. Although maybe she did, and she's just acting humble, you know, just to not show off. But then she downloaded the answer key, and the answer key probably told her that both W and D are accepted. Wry humor and dry humor, wined or dined, and we went through the other clues as well. And we also figured out at this part of it, word choice or W or D choice. So, yep, it would have accepted W, it would have accepted D, but I wanted to go for the extra satisfying thing that shows that I fully got the theme by putting W and D, and luckily they did account for that possibility, and we ended up solving the puzzle. Alright. Were the tricky clues? I got this pretty easily. Text massager. I it's one of those where you don't want to. It's easy to misread it and be like, text messenger, what? But you know, as soon as I'm used to the crossword pulling stuff like this, so wasn't that tricky for me. Although I have also sometimes not been tricked, but just like read the clue wrong, which I guess is another way of falling for that trap. Oh yeah, the SOS. This is one of those things where you just gotta know that they're called DAWs, I guess, which is a weird name. Dits and DAWs, yeah. 3 dots, 3 dashes, yeah. SOS, yep. Yeah. I probably said that wrong. Although you wouldn't be transmitting Morse code via vocals, so that's a new matter. Okay. Private sleeping accommodations is at an army base. Yeah, that also makes sense. Let's see what the constructor has to say. Oh god. Excuse me, sorry. We're almost through. Might expect this puzzle started out with the idea of word and went from there, or like W or D, but it actually started with the clue. Alright, that's interesting. And if that's the case, if this is the case, then this is just a coincidence. The word choice thing is a complete coincidence. If it started from wry humor and dry humor, all right, okay, that's very interesting. I have to realize you can stick an or between them to make a word, and not just any word, but but the word, and that it naturally fit in phrase choice. I was excited to make my first Schrodinger puzzle. So that is really just pure good luck that he happened upon this, and then came up with this, and then word choice. All right. Washboards and dashboards. Yeah, okay, I can see. I can see this one being like a hard to come up with a clue for. Reasonably plausible clue. I wasn't even thinking that much about the clue. I was just thinking about I wasn't even thinking about like what does the clue mean. I was just thinking about like what word of any kind can I make up that could have, you know, this collection of letters, but be able to start with a W or a D. Southwest corner was the toughest to fit theme answers. Many thanks to the editors. Sticking with me as I went through 4 or 5 different ideas that were too weak, or too unbalanced, or too much of a stretch to tie together. Woven, Doven, added to the fray. In a way, actually, that's actually not a bad clue, but I can see, it would be hard to figure out. Wishes and dishes is kind, yeah, I can see that. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's hard enough just coming up with puzzles that work on any level. So I don't mind if there's a few small parts where you kind of have to like suspend your disbelief a little bit. But yeah, I myself was perfectly happy with this puzzle, and I'm not just saying that because I solved it. I genuinely did like the puzzle a lot. Although having solved it does certainly put a bit of a spring in my step. Wait, oh, Oh yeah, let me finish reading this. It allowed for better fill than most of the other options, unless you're a big fan of Etria. What the hell is Etria? Let me just look that up on my phone. I guess I could look it up on my browser, but I've already pulled out my phone. The hell is Etria? It's yttrium oxide is an air. Okay, it's a pretty obscure thing. Thanks always to my mother, Meta Borrows, being my test solver. Yeah, I'm sure she would have helped a lot. Okay. With that, I think we are done. So let's reflect on what we accomplished today. We got through the Thursday. Now, the only thing standing between us and the 1000 are Friday and a Saturday. It all comes down to this. It all comes down to these last 2 days. I'm getting a little bit nervous, but it hasn't sunk in yet. I don't think it will sink in until we're on that 999 and we're on that final puzzle. But Friday, by no means, like we cannot underestimate it, because Fridays can give you a lot of trouble. In fact, the last Friday we did gave us quite a bit of trouble. So we've got to bring our A game to that. But we'll have to bring our A game to that tomorrow. For now, it is time for me to say thank you so much for watching. Hope you had a good time. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. Hope you'll join me tomorrow for the Friday puzzle, for the next episode of the Road to 1000. And until then, take care.